So Casey, the car guy here, was talking about something that I wanted to touch on. Excuse me. Hey, why is that like that? Okay. Um. So without further ado, I guess.
Tell them about the types of students we get and what we do and how high it is and the jobs and everything. It's amazing. And there's funding for paying for the curriculums for up to 2 years of students. And then they'll even pay for 6 months of the salary of one of these people if they get a job to help. And I'm like, this is great. This would absolutely bridge the gap. There's so many young people in this area that I could completely change their lives and make the country better just by connecting this little bit of funding to the nonprofit.
Right, but it's not used for
And
that.
before they go, they gave me a few flyers. I don't know why they gave me like 6 of the same flyer. I don't need one. I don't even need any. I'm not going to go hanging on walls anyway. But they're very nice, so I'm not blaming them. And I looked at it when I got home,
Come on, Casey. That's
and this particular flyer, it said the students that they help, they're all for at-risk people. Now, we're all human beings. We all have souls, but
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. If you're coming from poverty, if you're disabled, if you're poor and have a kid dependent, if you've had felonies and you have law problems, that's what I've got to work with locally.
And that's what I wanted to stop it. All right. So yeah, because it's part of that, like ruining people and getting people to be like, look, help them out. We ruined this person and everything. Now you got to take time out of your day and week and month and years to help them out. We made a bunch of fat people and everything, so you should, really accommodate them. And look, you should see that it's all very beautiful. All right, like people having their bodies poisoned and retaining more fat than usual and eating a bunch of processed foods. Look, we made some of your children into cerebral palsies and Down syndrome. Why don't you take your time out of your entire life to just focus on this? Because it's all part of the distraction, yo. Casey, the car guy. Casey, the car guy, because it's part of the distraction, dude. And that's, it doesn't, they make train wrecks on purpose. On purpose, the drugs and the felonies, all that stuff is being secretly done, just like the mass shooters are being secretly made, all using the public school system, and they're like, look, well, we're going to toss a little bit of this money towards this thing, even though a lot of the money is secretly being used in charities for evil. But look, we're going to help. See, aren't we great? Aren't we great? We made these train wrecks, and then we're going to fucking get the people to kind of get distracted, but in a way that they could feel good about. All right, just like molesting me, roofie molesting me as a child into my adulthood while maintaining the child status, just like that. They get a bunch of people to waste their time and get them, steer the mob, and people sexually abuse people my way, and it's a bunch of people that are sexually abused, and they hunt sexual abusers, and therefore you see the constant misdirection and the constant deflection of the narcissist and demons. So yeah, and in a similar sense, you make a bunch of drug addicts and they make a bunch of homeless people, and they're like, and then they get people that would be doing bigger and better and greater things to focus on smaller fish. Another example in my story is I got recently offered, like a few years ago when I first moved to Denver. There was this guy, he looked just like my uncle, but a Hispanic version of it. It was very strange. Anyway, so this guy at this organization offered me a position to, like, the CEO and leader of this other organization that's going to help people out in the community which is one of the places that I went to. They were helping some people out in the community, and good for them. But you're like, I'm on this trajectory, wanting to run for president and be real. But that is kind of slightly shifted to, being steward or making the case for being steward of America, to just do the treason trials and all that such shit right, because you're not doing it with your corrupted elected unrepresentatives. You're tricked into electing too, because they always, anyway, they have ways of manipulating. And this is another one that, like, Casey the car guy is talking about it, where they just, he's like, man, I just have this pool of people that were intentionally ruined. And he doesn't know that. He probably doesn't even realize that. He's like, oh man, they're just like losers and down and outs and everything. Man, you have no idea that shit that Edward Snowden warned about, the family destroying, and this counterintelligence destroys families and everything. That they do that on a mass scale. Millions of people a year, just, the death by 1,000 cuts tactic that they do, starting in childhood, using the school systems, doing the dare stuff, but getting people actually hooked on drugs, but you making it look. It's always the appearance of niceness while doing evils, right? So it's about wasting people's time and misdirecting them. Like, oh man, you're going to help out like 10, 20, 30,000 people? We can't have that. How about Casey, the car guy? Here's a flyer. Why don't you help out some of our local train wrecks? You might be able to help out a dozen or two of them, all right? How about that? So it's exactly what they fucking do. All right, so yeah. All right, well, I just wanted to touch on that really quick. Anyway, peace the fuck out, everyone. You take care. Bye bye. All right, there was a little bit more he went on, so I just wanted to show a little more here.
So here's the thing that we need to address. Why is there tremendous sums of money to help people try to learn something and get a job who are not in a position of life to be the kind of people to contribute to society?
Right.
But there's no money for people who both can and want to contribute to society.
Because it was, as I was saying in the earlier part of this video that I'm going to, I guess, combine into one video. Because it's about appearing nice. Business is about appearances, bitch. No, but like, that's how they operate. So they make a bunch of train wrecks, and then they get you to clean up their shit. Just like, I even mentioned the child molesters, right? They make they molest children into their adulthood. And then they're like, look, mob, you got to clean this up. But make sure not to get the elite ones at the top creating all the problems. No, you guys fight amongst yourselves. And this is just one out of a billion, trillion, gazillion fucking tactics that they have. And they mask it in niceness. Just like they make a bunch of mentally retarded people, and then they otherwise, like, if they didn't, poison the parent's sperm and egg, their daughter or son would have grown into a fine individual contributing to society in positive ways. But now, they, in this other timeline, they got born with cerebral palsy or some other disease, Down syndrome, and they're like, oh, well, mom and dad, instead of having your bird fly and leave the nest, now you got to tend to your fucking kid forever, and we're going to get other people to do it, to kind of like waste their time. But helping these people out is not wasting your time, but the overall tactic is that we made these people, we made them a drug addict, we made them mentally handicapped, we made them, a sexual abuser, by, sexually abusing them, and then you all go clean it up. You know, like we make the problem, and then we tell you fucking, when yeah, it's exactly like that. You know, so yeah, I'm just saying, like that's why they fund this. They fund it. They're like, look, we got to look good, all right, but we also got to waste people's time. How do we do that? Well, this is how they do that. They make a bunch of drug addicts, they make a bunch of homeless people, they make people down and out the way that I've been attacked. Like, it's amazing that I even lived through it all. Like, I mean, people attacking me. I'm ended up in jail. I'm ended up homeless for like fucking 6, 7 years. People, doing their trap house thing with me with the that Kurt Cobain had to fucking deal with. And just one thing after another, and then people coming at me sideways like I'm some sort of fucking predator, even though I've been preyed on my whole fucking life. Getting your children to feel themselves up around me, except Denver. Yeah, after molesting me a whole bunch into my fucking adulthood, like you're trying to invent a problem, or invent problems. And as I said earlier, wow, this person otherwise would have gone on to help out, hundreds of thousands or millions of people, maybe billions. But let's just try to like get them to like focus on like helping out a few hundred people in their community instead. It's always about the lesser without making it seem like that. Like, oh, you don't care about fat people? You don't care about cerebral palsy? You don't care about, like, the down and out drug addict, the homeless person? Oh my God, how dare you? And it's like, actually, you're part of the group that is making all that. The part of the group, the bankers and corporations that are making all the drug addicts, that are pouring a bunch of immigrants into America, that are, making a bunch of homeless people. They're doing it with intent. And then they're like, well, look, we got it. We ruined a bunch of people. Now it would be best for us to get the people that are not so ruined to focus on the ones that are ruined. Again, fighting amongst each other. If not fighting amongst each other, you're struggling with each other. Like, wow, we taught to some people how to swim, but most people fucking don't know how to tread water. And now we're gonna fucking get those like swimmers to like help keep a few heads above the water, and they're going to struggle extra hard, and that's what it's about, an endless distraction, misdirection. And I'm not saying to not help these people out, but also, that's what the purpose of it is. They make the problem and then they like jerk everyone else. And they're like, okay, well, maybe you should do something about it. We got this charity here that only helps out the fucking people that we ruined. How would you like that? How would you like to deal with our low vibration fucking little demons that we've been manufacturing? Would you like to deal with that? And no, they're not all like that, but some of them are. Like some of the drug addicts, especially, are really low vibration. Just about sex and drugs, and that's sad that happened to them. They got programmed that way. They might have even been roofie possessed, like me, where they were more susceptible because I'm on a greater divine mission, which is something that has been helping me through all of this, unknown to me for most of my life. But it's also stuff that I had to experience so I could be able to talk about it, So Casey, the car guy, I love you and everything. I can't watch everyone all the time. I don't know, it's just kind of like what the feed just kind of shows me. And I know I need to stop. I need to unplug from all this stuff. But I like hearing from different sorts of people, and I watch a lot of different people, and sometimes I stop watching them because I just don't have enough time to hear everything and everyone. But I just felt that, when I was listening to this one guy, that I commented on this one thing here, and now I made like a 15-20 minute video out of it. But yeah, like that's what they do, and they just like the IDF is going around, blowing off limbs off of a bunch of Palestinians and other people. And then they make them handicapped, and they don't finish them off because that's the point. They're like, look, we fucking shot off all their limbs, and now they're walking around limbless. And now other people in the community got to go around and help them out, because it drags them down too, And then people are left with the choice, of helping, their people out in community, kind of fending for themselves and focusing on themselves and not, helping people tread water, but treading it themselves. And, I mean, it's a tough decision to make sometimes. And I can't, again, litigate every single situation, but that they like making handicapped people. They like making all sorts of people mass shooters. They fucking, child molesters by molesting them. They fucking drug addicts, and there's probably stuff that does occur where people get fucking roofied and shot up with the heroin to make them a heroin addict. I mean, you don't know, like, the amount of evil, like, that people can't see is staggering. I mean, congratulations for the people who could see it and everything. But people think it's like sunshine and rainbows and occasionally a bad apple. It's like, man, the whole landscape is full of rotten apples amongst the little bit of fresh fruit. All right. At least within the empire. I would say other nations do a better job. But within the empire here, that's how it's done. And they do it with great intent. And oh, you don't want to help out the druggies that we made? Actually, it was some other degree fucking person in our cult that did that. See, we all compartmentalize, and it's no one person that's ever doing anything. It's a collective bullshit effort, So yeah, this he went on to get like one of his trained fucking by conservatives, but Zionists is what it sounds like. You feed a stray cat and everything, it's going to keep on coming back and everything. Analogy to people that have been secretly targeted and abused with this counterintelligence program that does, like, intelligence community out of control, doing this shit for fucking generations, and the Catholic Church molestation is tied into it, and the mass molestation, like they fucking like millions a year. And they only need to fucking roofie molest your child a few times, within a decade or two to really try to, skew their otherwise would be normal functioning, sexual, ways, I guess, right? So yeah, and that's just like, I mean, it's not even about the sex, as I've been saying. It's, they ruin people in a lot of ways. They disfigure their body. They make them lose limbs, and anything to slow down the fucking herd. All right, anything to slow down the herd from, if you got a herd and you start injuring a few of the herd, they might, come back for them and help them limp back, and the herd won't move as fast. That's what it's about, and that's why there's funding and all that stuff, because all that shit is funded by the dark groups, the CIA stuff. Sorry about that, my computer started talking to me. So yeah, like that's what it's about, and it's about like distracting everybody with anything and everything. They take a shit on the sidewalk and they're like, look, the community should come together. I am funding a program, clean up the sidewalks, but this also entails jailing all the homeless people too for defecating, in a non-public restroom. It's like they create the problem and then they get other people to fucking clean it up. Like, look, I just sat here. Why don't you guys clean it up? Look, I tossed this money in this fucking good fucking cause to look good. I got money. Are you fucking buying carbon credits, bitch? Are you fucking buying carbon credits? Well, then I'm better than you because I'm the one buying carbon credits and you're not. Anyway. You guys take care. Love you. I wanted to get that one out there, though, too. So I guess to add on to my little video there, the Casey with the car guy, it's been so many hours I've been meaning to make this add-on and then tack it onto the video and then upload it. But anyway, so it's about weaponizing compassion. These motherfuckers weaponize everything and every aspect, every fucking thing. And every aspect of every fucking thing they weaponize. They weaponize people's compassion this way, and they make a bunch of broken people, and they're like, well, you should be, You're wasting your time on that, and it's not like it's a bad thing, but it's meant to waste your time and to drag you down. Like, well, why aren't you helping other people tread water while you barely keep your head up above water, type thing. And and that's just what they do. And I just wanted to the weaponization of compassion is something that they do, and they do it by poisoning a bunch of people, and then they're like, well, you should be really just kind of treating their symptoms instead of addressing the problem of people, why people are so ruined and everything. Don't ever address that. Just solely focus on helping that one person out that we gave cerebral palsy to, or Down syndrome, or something, debilitating. Just help them out, all right? And don't go beyond that. And I guess weaponization of compassion is what I was thinking about. So yeah, peace the fuck out.